Hello, everybody. My name is Brian. Uh, I have a lot to tell you. Uh, I have some helpful things to tell you. That would be what I used to call my business tips book. Uh, I learned it throughout the years. Just things people told me that I just put, just a list of tips for starting and owning a business, not necessarily owning and running a business. Anyway, so I have that book. Yeah, the title's so long I don't even remember it. But you can go to briandurden.com and find it there. Uh, I also have a book called The Identified Patient. That's what I'd really like to go over today. Um, the uh, the book is about my life actually, and I call it Identified Patient because I'm a disabled veteran, and what I went through in life kind of led to my diagnosis in the military and getting an honorable discharge. Um, and it didn't end there. Uh, a lot of things have happened, uh, partly because uh, I have paranoia, delusional uh, thoughts, and I was also hearing voices, which, to tell you the truth, may have been my neighbors or somebody hacked into my computer or somebody just being mean, putting devices on my car and stuff like that. But I've gone through periods of my life where I kept the volume down and my ears got relatively sensitive and I could hear things other people couldn't hear. So the voices weren't really in my head. I call those thoughts. Although my thoughts get projected um, outside of my body. Just moving around in static electricity can control things. I hope you've noticed that and understand that. Because if you don't understand that, or forget that, or what have you, it can lead to problems because everybody has an imagination. And so if you have suspicions, you might imagine things that would bother you. Some people basically like maybe a horror film or something type of thing, just watching out for something going on or whatever. That's what my situation was recently. Um, but anyway, um, I'm going to go over this book because I'm finding that a lot of people don't read. I'd say maybe 20% of society are avid book readers, and there's so many books out there that it's unlikely that anybody would end up reading my book. And I don't have the money to promote my book. Um, so I guess this would be it uh, if this takes off. But so far, a lot of my videos on YouTube, um, they end up getting a lot of views at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they just stop. No reason or explanation. I should probably call them, but anyway, I'm doing this because a lot of people would like to know what I know, but I didn't know for a long time because basically I forgot everything. And when I quit alcohol recently, uh, I started to remember these things. And turns out that devil's breath was involved, scalopamine. It comes from the datura plant and also, I think, horse tranquilizer. Um, my sister was involved, and my mom's um, friend, boss, um, um, I don't know what you call it, um, opposite of mistress. He was a married man, and he was a producer out west in Beverly Hills, and he produced pro celebrity tennis tournaments. He was in Naval Reserves, and what I think happened is he caught my sister with some drugs at a very young age, and he may have actually been involved in MK Ultra, but I don't know that. And he was best friends with Bill Cosby, who uh, probably got the drugs from him. I don't know if they were experimenting, but it seems like he wasn't. Um, I'm hoping that he was, because that's really ugly to think that somebody could do that to somebody. Uh, anyway, my childhood started off, I don't know how old I was. I know my cousin was mad and she was on my phone with my mother, our phone with my mother, saying that I'm going to say he was 6 years old, but I think I was around two, and I met my great grandfather, and he was showing me a gun, and he was telling me that he had a headache, and I thought, um, by shooting him, he would be cured, and sure enough, I shot him. If I think it might have been a dream because it's not a very clear memory, but I think I shot him, and uh, his headaches went away, but he went blind. Um, so that's like the first real memory. I don't think scolopending was involved in. That didn't happen until we moved to Florida after my mother's divorce. But then we were in California, and I was about 2 years, 2.5 years old, maybe. Uh, and I had got off base on my, uh, or was trying to get off base on my little wagon that I got for Christmas. Uh, and the MP stopped me at the gate, and they took me back home. But I tried it again, and I actually did get off base, and I got kidnapped. And I had a neighbor's child in the wagon I was towing with this little tractor, this little red tractor, a little red wagon, and I and that girl, baby, was taken to the Manson Ranch, and I was there when Manson sent off um, all those people to kill Tate and everybody else, and I remember that. And then after the fact, they came back. I remember the brunette was like, "Oh, that was so exciting and everything." Well, for me, I was like, you know, that's not good, But anyway, they forgot the gun or something. Something happened. They had to go back. They didn't know what to do with me, so they took me along. And I was in the car when somebody pulled up, and the guy that was driving hopped out and shot the driver. And then we went in the house. They told me to stand by the door and wait there. And I was all alone at the front door, and I could hear them talking and everything inside the house. And I got scared, and I walked in, and I could tell something. I can't really remember what I saw, but I know there was a couch, and somebody was on the other side of the couch, I guess, because of the way they were talking. Uh, but anyway, after that, we went back, and I don't remember. I remember the the movie set area, but I remember staying at a house that was kind of on a hill with, I think I counted 23 steps. We got back 17 or 23 steps, and we would go up these steps. And I was a little kid. I was tired. I was complaining. That's why I counted the steps. But we were staying in that house, and um, anyway, we got back from that, and then the next day it was daylight. We went back again, and everybody was there. The police or whatever, and everything. And I knew where I threw the gun, and I told some young kid. I guess they said he was 10 years old. Where the gun was. It was in the hedge to the right of the driveway. I told him, it was over there, and he went and looked and found the gun. And then I remember, I guess the police realized that I wasn't, that I was kidnapped, and they didn't show much respect for me. They they put me in this little 4x4 room with a hollow top and threw DDT on me, like ton of this dust and stuff. And then I guess I was reunited with my family. So that was that. And then my mother got divorced from my father. We lived with my father for about a year, my sister and I. And he was drinking a lot and everything. Uh, but we were going to school and he had a job and everything. But my sister and I were going up and down to Florida, and we liked Florida. Uh, the fresh air and the salty air and the cool breeze and everything off the ocean. And we um, decided to stay there because the judge, at that age, I was about 13, my sister was about 10, uh, let us decide. And we wanted to live with my mother. At the time, she was working with Roy Carver, the 10th richest man in the world. And I'd seen the Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think. And he had this egg, he said, was $2 million if the economy was bad, $3 million if the economy was good, and 6 million if it was uh, really good. Uh, so he was showing us this egg. He had a really extensive uh, home theater system with a room in the back to get all the wires and everything, and pool table. And he was living in a penthouse, and we got to see his yacht, one of his yachts. He had three of them. Some people might say he had two because the third one was a secret one. Um, but anyway, I was kind of mad at him because my mother had explained that he wanted my mother to live in the building with him uh, and be on call. And I guess I might have taken it the wrong way. I don't know. He was a real nice guy. But so he had this egg, and he said there was only one like it. It was owned by the leader of Russia, and I mean another one, um, second one. Um, so my mother was gone, but she had left the keys, and we were living about a mile away. And we went over to his place, and my sister and I, we took something and switched it out uh, from its spot. So I had this little brown egg, but I think it was a dummy. Uh, but I don't even know what happened to it for sure. Trying to find it. I had it in my house 10 years ago or more. And I think I might have given it to the thrift store. If not, it's hidden here in the house, and I might know where, but I just haven't had the time, energy, or wherewithal to go get it. Anyway, so that's that story, and then my 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 mother, she ended up getting a job with Paul Garfinkel, who was a diamond dealer that you could invest in diamonds with, and it was full uh, tax free investment. It might still be diamonds, but he had a lot of clients, and my mother said that he each client, the average was $50,000 a piece. So one time we went to go riding in his boat, and I saw uh, that they threw a sack of diamonds into the pool. Underneath the pool, there was a stand, like a piece of artwork or something, and a guy came out and held a shovel at a certain angle, and I'd heard something about the cable that goes across the canal to another house, and they pull the thing to unlock it, and then they can lift it open. But they got to push an alarm first in the house, and so they opened it, threw it in, and then closed it. And I said, told my sister, "Look at that." So anyway, uh, the after the boat ride, one of the girls that was on the boat ride, she had one of the stacks of diamonds. Um, and I know because she was smoking marijuana in the back of the house, and um, I went to check her purse. So I checked her purse and found the diamonds in there, and it was all like 50 small diamonds, but they said that the diamonds were priceless. $50,000 a piece, which is hard to believe, especially back in the 80s. So I put them back, and then my friend came over, and he would talk me into anything. I jumped from my roof to my neighbor's roof one time because of him. Stole a canoe because of him one time because I wanted to be like Rambo, swimming across the lake and bringing the canoe back. And I ended up defriending him because of the way he would try and talk me into stuff. And I don't want to ever be. He was like a narcissist, power freak type of guy. Anyway, so he went in the bedroom, and I showed him the diamonds, and then he went in the bedroom and took them when I told him not to do that because the diamonds were missing the next day, and they were asking. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I didn't say anything. But then my sister, she must have had this scopamine, and she she must have given me scopamine because I remember a boat ride on a yacht. I think it was Walter Edling's yacht, which was 85 feet long. It was in the movie Dolphin. And it had this super big keel. Um, he tried to tell me, my mom and him tried to tell me that it didn't have anything in the keel. Uh, but I remember seeing some footage of that movie that they cut, I guess, where doors would open up and they'd have the scuba equipment already in. The divers would jump in and just get the scuba equipment, put it on underwater. But anyway, we went. They were asking where Paul Garfinkel's house was, so I took them to Paul Garfinkel's house. And the next day, I saw my mom had pictures of where the cable went into underneath in the canal underneath the ground uh, to the statue or whatever that tilted up, lifted up like a hatch. Um, and they were saying that it looked more like axe marks. So anyway, um, he got arrested and charged and sent to prison for Ponzi scheme, but I believe he was innocent. I think the diamonds got stolen, and um, what else? Uh, oh, he had glasses with red and green tint on them, and he would write all the paperwork down with invisible ink. And well, he said he was bragging he'd only have to put the amount they invested and the date, and then he would be able to calculate, and their name and stuff, and then be able to calculate how much he owed them. Uh, but because he was arrested, uh, I guess he bonded out, and he asked my mom, my sister, and I, and he had another guy working with him. I think it was his accountant, tax guy. Um, uh, we were all there shredding documents for hours, and they were all blank pages. They looked blank, um, and we ended up with about 9 or 12 huge black garbage bags, like 80-gallon garbage bags of shredded. And we left and because we were tired, and there was still more to shred. But he went to prison, and I think he was innocent. Then so my mom started seeing this guy Walter Etling, and he had a yacht, and he was a realtor, a very famous guy. And uh, we went to Cat Key one time, and somebody looked over the edge, and and then looked up and told us on the bow that uh, they're saying it's too loud because the AC was out. We had the generator running, so I guess they couldn't put drugs in the boat because it was too loud underwater. But anyway, we came back from Cat Key, and so he might have been a drug dealer and diamond dealer. I mean, stolen diamonds. I don't remember him there. I remember my sister was there, and I think her husband. Uh, I don't know. I don't know who it was. But it's hard to remember because I think I was drugged. Before that, I was drugged. Wendell is the guy I'm talking about that was a producer. He uh, he was having a pro celebrity tournament in Bonaventure, and Brooke Shields was coming. I heard, and I told my sister, I said, "Boy, I'd love to give a massage to Brooke Shields," and I didn't think anything of it. Well, we got there, and Brooke was leaving the tennis court, and my mom was there, my sister was there, and I was there. We have a photo of that. Um, when she said, "Brooke," my mom, um, she came over and said, "I'm getting a massage." But she did the photo with us, and then she left. And we happened to be going to the same hotel, so I saw what room she went in, and I went in my room. But before I went up, my sister gave me a drink, and she wanted me to drink it so bad. I could tell. Um, by this time, I'd already seen her bring home some horse tranquilizer from a horse farm that she was getting riding lessons from. So anyway, um, I went to sleep right away in the hotel room, and because I took one sip, and I was half asleep, and two girls walked in and were laughing. My sister and I think Tammy. But anyway, they left, and then I fell completely asleep. And then the next thing I know, I'm waking up, and they're like telling me to give this person a massage. And I never saw the face, but I think it was Brooke Shields. I know it wasn't that other girl from before. Um, but I think they were taking pictures. And anyway, the next day my sister she sent me to the photo shop, photo development place to develop the photos. And when I picked them up, I asked, "Can I look at the photos if I was told to pick them up by somebody else?" And he said no. I said, "Do you look at the photos?" And he said no. And anyway, I got the photos, and I remember that. And I'm afraid my sister was blackmailing Brooke Shields. But I don't know. Um, anyway, so the next thing that happened, my mother came back from a visit to California, I guess, and she was on the beach with Robert Wagner, and Wendell got a picture of them together in their bathing suits. When they got back, we were looking at the photo, and Mom said, "This is a sensitive photo." Um, and then I don't know what happened with Stacy, but my sister. But the next thing I know, we got a phone call at the house, and it was Natalie Wood, and she said, "Blackmail, put your mother on the phone." And I did. Uh, I didn't know what was going on. Um, so the next thing I know is um, I was sent to California to bond with Robert Wagner, and took a small, I think it was 152 Cessna, all the way there from Florida. And I did, along with two guys. So anyway, I got there, and I remember being at the par with Natalie Wood there, and Robert Wagner, and Christo- uh, Christopher Walken was there in the car when we left. Um, and the whole time on the way, uh, they were talking about, she has to go, she has to go, she has to go. And we get to the boat, and they're putting what looked like oil on the side of the boat, but they said it was a cleaner. And then Natalie Wood showed up, beautiful. Uh, she was wearing a black bottom, like bikini skirt type of thing, and then black top. Um, but we got out on the. It wasn't his Robert Wagner's boat. We passed right by that one, and he told the captain to just go out or whatever. And we got on somebody else's boat, and um, the captain might look like he might have been the father of the captain of his boat. But anyway, we got out, anchored out, and Robert Wagner was giving Natalie Wood a really hard time. I vaguely remember the wine bottle crashing, but like he would give her a hard time. He was talking about all, women are hoes and stuff. And then Natalie would go to the stern of the boat, and then he'd cool off and she'd come back. Well, one time she went to the stern of the boat, and first they drugged her. They had a brown wax manila envelope, and they poured something in her drink of wine, red wine. And Christopher Walken, he didn't seem like he really knew what was going on. He just like was playing along with Robert Wagner. He didn't look too happy about having to do that either. But anyway, So one time, she went to the back of the boat, and I was concerned about her, so I went up to the bridge to see what was going on. And right as I was taking a step up or whatever, step onto the bridge, um, and could see the back, I saw Robert Wagner with his arms under her armpits, and his arms, well, they were both intertangled like that, with her on the other side of the railing of the boat. And I looked down to take the last step, and then I looked up again, and Robert Wagner was running back into the back into the boat. Uh, and Natalie, she kind of went down, grabbed the railing, and her butt was hanging down, and she started pulling herself up, and she was almost there, and her foot slipped, and she fell in, and she started screaming, and she was floating away, and the captain threw one of those round floats, but it landed kind of far away from her, and she looked like she couldn't swim. She was waving her arms. And then the captain said, "Okay, well now we call for help." And he looked like he was on a radio, but he didn't look like he clicked the button. I wasn't sure if he did or not. And then there was a small boat nearby, about 100, 200 yards uh, to the port of the boat. Um, and they came by because I guess they heard the screaming. And they went off looking for her. And they came back and they said, "We found her." And Robert Wagner um, said, "Just let her go." And then I remember being at a Coast Guard station, and we were all there, and I guess they were looking for her, and some people came in. They looked like police, so I think I told one of them what was going on, and one of them went to the logbook or something, and looked like he changed something. But anyway, um, I think that'll be important later on because as far as Bonnie Lee Bakeley, it seemed like those people were involved in drugging me and having me shoot at Bonnie Lee Bakeley. They told me it was blanks. And I remember throwing the gun in the dumpster and running back to their car. Now I was doing some filming with Wendell and all that, so I I didn't know what was going. I just woke up in a Mercedes. They said these are blanks and go shoot at this lady, and I did. Um, and then I found out it was probably Bonnie Lee Bakley. It looked like her, and but she wasn't in the car. It wasn't in Robert Blake's car. She saw a car that she liked because I could hear this from the Mercedes, and she went to a car. It was an open convertible, white. Anyway, I went down there. Um, I aimed the gun. I was pointing at the door board. Um, and then she started going in her purse. So I aimed and shot, even though I thought it was blank. So I thought, shoot. Anyway, so I got really scared, and then I got in the car with them again, and they took me just right up to the road and told me to get on a bus, and they'll pick me up at the next stop. And they did. And I don't remember anything after that. Um, then there's uh, there's in the Navy. I think Wendell and my mother were breaking up at this point. Uh, and uh, also, I told Wendell that I told somebody on my ship that I knew him. So something might have happened, that he might have been discovered as an adulterer, but whatever happened, Well, that doesn't make sense because my mother said that his wife found an IOU note, uh, which that doesn't make sense either because my mother was working with Wendell, so um, they had a working relationship too. But anyway, uh, when I was in the Navy, I walked into my mother and Wendell's room at the Hay Adams Hotel, and I saw all these little finger condoms full of something in the sink. I went over to the sink and I'm like swirling them around. I said, "What's this?" And then my mother said, "Can't we do anything?" Um, but I remember now swallowing the last finger condom. I don't remember him giving me any other ones. I was obviously drugged, and I got back to the ship, and I remember now pooping funny. Um, and they were working on the CHT system, so it's kind of weird that I was even allowed to poop there. But anyway, it must have all been set up because uh, somebody told me some guy was homesick and to go talk to him, and I did. And he felt better after I talked to him. And I went back to my rack, and the guy came over and said, "Good job," and he offered me a soda. I had one sip of the soda, and I got really tired. I was planning on going out to see my girlfriend like I always do, but I got really tired and I fell asleep. And then I remember he said, "Time to go." Woke me up, and kept getting more and more firm because I just wanted to go back to sleep. So he started hitting me at least 3 times, waking me up. And they basically dragged me up to O1 or O2 level, and um, there were like 8 guys there, and the black guy that was homesick was all happy and giddy, and there was a circle of these guys, and they were watching me and holding me up, and they started passing around a rope, and they started passing around first the gloves and then rope, and I knew what was happening then, and I was scared to death, and I thought about screaming, but we were in like an isolated part of the ship. O2, the officers were way on the other side of the ship, 844-foot ship, um, farther towards the front. And I didn't think anybody would hear me if I could get anything out. And they could tell I wasn't cooperating. I didn't want to touch the gloves or the rope. And they took me over to a chair, which was the first thing I remembered was that chair when I remembered all this. It took like a week to remember it all, but they sat me down in the chair and they were guarding me. And then I remember hearing, "No, no." And then, a struggle and then nothing. And then they took me over to where the rope was tied and they told me to touch it. And I'm pretty sure they took a picture. Because I remember like somebody was getting ready to put a picture in my bunk when I was in the next day. I remember they they were uh, they were putting all their clothes into a laundry bag, but on the way up to that space, there was a captain's ladder, which nobody's supposed to go up or down, uh, and it smelled like perfume really bad. So they must have been trying to frame me because they didn't take my clothes off like I was involved, put it in the laundry bag. They only put their clothes in there. So anyway, it might have been a green exercise. Again, Wendell might have been involved in MK Ultra and it went bad. But I may have been tried to been framed a lot of times in my life. Um, anyway, um, so I think they hung that guy. They had a memorial service, and everybody was there. It had to be true. Um, anyway, I reported that when I remembered it in about 2023, 33 years later. Anyway, and then there was the death of Princess Di. I believe I was drugged for that because I don't remember any of the trip except for needing a wheelchair at the airport, trying to tell a woman that I was drugged and for help, asking for help on the plane, and then being at a bar, and then um, being at the overpass thing, the tunnel, um, at the other end of it, and Wendell passed me, tried to pass me a security light, uh, and I had no idea what he wanted. I was so exhausted and drugged, and he uh, he tried to pass it to me, and I didn't take it. And then some blonde guy, muscular blonde guy, said, "I'll do it." Yeah, and he was all happy. He might have been drugged. So he went down and he shined the light, and then I heard a car accident. Now, I think Wendell may have been trying to make it look like it was a film because when we got there, I went down and looked down the tunnel, and there was a band there. But when I got back up to where they were, um, I could hear the band dismantling. Um, so anyway, and then after the car accident, I heard some motorcycles, at least two. Um, so I'd heard that, and Wendell told me that they try and use the security lights to uh, keep the paparazzi from following famous people because the paparazzi were crazy back then. But it seemed to me that it might have been all planned and done on purpose. And the same with the um, Natalie Wood and the Lee Bakeley thing. Now, next thing I remember, I went uh, to visit Bill Cosby, or I was actually visiting Wendell, but he wanted me to stay with Bill Cosby. Um, so I was in, I was taken to Bill Cosby's guest house. I went in his real house and met his family, and they put me in the guest house. On the way, they showed me his other place where uh, Nichole's was staying. And right away, I said, I'd rather stay there. So they were giving me these pills, and I didn't know what they were. They told me it was over the counter. And um, they said, if you want to stay here, you have to take these. And they put me in the guest house. They gave me access to a computer. You walk in, and there was a computer, and then in the back, there was a bed. And it was weird because the bed was kind of high up. I complained, and the next day it was lower. Anyway, so they said, just buy whatever you want. And I was like, okay. And because of all the shit that was going on, um, I bought a knife and gloves and a ski mask. And I met Ronald Goldman and I told him about it, gave him the website. And he said, later on, he said that a friend of his bought him the knife. So then we went out to eat at the same place Ronald Goldman worked at. And Nichole was there, O.J. Simpson was there. I don't remember who else was there. I think it was the whole family. But I asked Nichole, are you going to get back together with O.J.? And she said no. And she left her glasses there. And Somebody wanted to take the glasses back to Nicole, and I said, "No, I'll do it." So I walked over to Nicole's house, and I wanted to get the knife over there and try to talk her out of being there and stay there. And I got there, gave her glasses, and I tried to invite myself up. So the first time she said no, but I had heard, people will test your confidence, and uh, also I wanted to get to switch um, houses, get to stay at that house. So I asked again, and at that time Ronald Goldman showed up, and he had the knife, and Nicole got really mad at me. Ronald Goldman pulled the knife on me, so I pulled my knife, and I, I stabbed his fingers to try and get him to drop the knife, and he wouldn't drop the knife. As a matter of fact, he tried to stab me in the gut, but by this time Nicole was on my back. So I saw the knife coming and I backed off, and Nicole jumped off my back because she saw it too. And she hit her head on a brick wall, uh, and then was there on the ground. And then um, I had a chance to run away, and I got to the gate, and O.J. Simpson and his tall friend showed up. They screeched to a stop, jumped out, came and asked me what happened, and I told them it was self-defense. Um, I was just trying to get away. And I told him about the glasses too, and he got mad, and he went in there and he stabbed Ron Goldman a couple of times, and then he went in and stabbed Nicole a couple of times, and then I finally looked over because I was scared to look because his friend was standing over me, but I finally looked because it didn't seem like he was trying to stop me from looking, but I looked, and that's when I saw OJ slit Nicole's throat. So they took me back to OJ's house, and I had not taken the ski gloves and the mask. Um, but they had found it, I guess, and they had me put that on, and they gave me two white pills again. And this time I put the pills in my upper cheeks. Um, and they sent me to bed. And I guess I had a cell phone. I called Wendell, and Wendell came and got me. And I told him what was going on, and we followed OJ to the airport, and we saw him put a knife or two knives in the trash can, wrapped up. And I remember seeing that. And I remember looking at the guy next to us, and I said, "I hope you remember that because we're going to need you as a witness." Um, but I didn't actually say it. I just thought it anyway. Um, and then I remember being on the tarmac of an airport, and Wendell apparently gave me some drugs and had me put in a coffin to get me back to South Florida. And I woke up, and my knee hurt, and I had a dream of like the same exact thing that happened, and I wasn't sure if it was real or not. So I had totally forgot what happened. I woke up from a bad dream. So for years, all this stuff, I didn't remember it. So anyway, quitting alcohol, you might have some trauma come back. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, And then the book gets into my relationship with Marie, my wife. You're not supposed to know that we get married, but I prayed for a wife, and that's what happened. I met her within 3 days, and it was a rough engagement. Boy, I was suspicious, and I was hearing voices and paranoid. I wound up in the hospital for about 2 weeks. About, it seems like 8 times. One time they didn't have room; they had to take me to a private hospital. So anyway, also we knew drug dealers growing up. There was an Italian guy and another guy, um, but I didn't realize it. I didn't recognize the guy, but the Italian guy's son, I saw him there at the Don Arno shooting, and he never got caught. Two other guys got caught, and I had seen them, and I had reported the blue Cadillac and these two guys, um, and that guy were there. There were two other guys, to a friend of mine, and that might be why the two guys in the blue Cadillac got caught. But I was driving by right before it happened, and now I'm in fear of my life because right after I reported it, um, he came up to North Carolina and did a threatening motion to me like he had a gun. So anyway, that's been going on, and then I witnessed a murder one time, um, and they might be after me. And then I was actually trying to find out who the drug dealers were because I think my sister was involved with some. So I told my sister that I wanted to get involved, and I think she drugged me again because I had forgotten all about that. But I was there, and we showed up to this thing with that same guy, the Italian guy, and there were like two or three black guys, and they had a machete. Um, so I found out it was him, but I forgot. I forgot. I was going to report him, and I forgot. The next day, I forgot. Uh, anyway, and then anyway, a lot of stuff. My mother ended up getting married to another guy who was a prominent lawyer in South Florida who looks a lot like uh, Tanka Jahari, who had a balloon, who might have been angry with me because I reported him to my father when we were on a balloon ride. My sister and I were on a balloon ride. And he was very adamant about don't look over the edge. And of course, you want to look over the edge when you're in a balloon. But he almost threw me out of the balloon. And I reported it to my father when we got back. And my father was like, you have to report. Oh, the guy had told me that he had 300 people had fallen out of his balloon. And I told my father was in the Navy. And he said, you're the captain of that balloon. You're supposed to be reporting all that. So anyway, he might have been mad at me and married my mother. But I don't remember what the guy looked like. But he looks like the video I saw. He looked a lot like my stepfather. Uh, but the video of him was in the 70s, and he looked old and feeble. It might have been just because he was on cocaine. Because he told me he was going to Cat Key all the time in this Hatteras, and they actually caught him with Dan Walcott, who's famous. He had 5 different aliases, and he got shot in the head and killed. Richard, my stepfather, got shot 5 times, and they saved his life in L.A. They were actually on their way to Vancouver or something, but the police found uh, 200 pounds of cocaine in their airplane. But I guess Richard didn't get in trouble because, you know, I guess he could blame Dan. But anyway, there's a lot more to it. And if you're curious, um, my book is Identified Patient or The Identified Patient by Brian Durden. Uh, if you read it, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope I'm appreciated for telling the truth about what happened in all these cases. These are famous people. I'm sure people would like to know the truth. And um, in the comments, please let me know what you think. I appreciate any empathy or sympathy, comments to lift me up. It's been troubling. I've been getting help from the VA. Um, they've been helpful coping with all these memories, and uh, I'm hoping that the public will appreciate me instead of uh, try and troll me or blame me or badmouth me or anything. All right. I hope you enjoy your day. And there's really not much to subscribe to. I wouldn't bother, but I would recommend uh, liking the video to help the algorithm get it out to other people, um, so that everybody knows what happened, especially with Ronald Goldman and Nichole Simpson and Natalie Wood, Lee Bakeley, and Princess Di. All right. Bye bye. Love y'all.